Hello and welcome to our Wellness Universe class about self-compassion and self-love, also self-responsibility and self-awareness. I'm Ingrid Auer. I'm from Europe, from Austria, right now in Vienna, connected with my dear friend and co-host Ann Wenner from the midst of not California, from the US. You are very close to Chicago, I think, so in the middle of your state. I'm working together with angels. I'm an angel specialist, and also do seminars and talks, and also coaches. But Joanne is the specialist about self-compassion and self-love. So I would like to ask her to introduce her and also to start with our class.
Thank you, Ingrid. So as Ingrid said, I'm Ann Wenner, and I work as, my title is a holistic coach, and I teach spiritual classes in Reiki and guidance and other things, but my real work here is fostering education on what self-compassion is, compassion as a whole way of being in the world. And it's something I think that traces back to my earliest childhood, many lessons in compassion. So I'm very pleased to be here. I'm actually from St. Paul, Minnesota, and being very cozy here, as probably you all are in your homes right now. And so I welcome you in, and it's interesting because when we were putting this program together, I was thinking about what are the components of a compassionate life, and self-awareness and self-reflection are, of course, two of the foundational tools to be compassionate with yourself and with others. So I'm really pleased to be able to be part of this presentation with my dear friend Ingrid Auer. So thank you all for being here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for joining us. So Joanne, would you like to start, please?
I will. So we're going to start. Oh, welcome, Natalie. I see that you've also joined us. And Irene and Anna, so nice to have you here. So self-awareness is really our ability to be self-aware. And that requires us to have the ability to take a step back and to see ourselves as an observer, an interested observer to our own lives and to our own way of being in the world. And in order to do this, we have to be curious. So we can ask ourselves these kinds of questions. One is, am I present in my body today or in this moment? Because with this whole pandemic issue now, I feel most of us are moving through our lives in waves where we are present one moment and in the next moment, maybe something has come up that's raising fear in us or deep concern, and we leave our bodies and we move into that emotion or that stressful feeling. And so we need to come back into the body, and we can ask ourselves these questions. Just remind ourselves that we are right here, right now, and this is the only moment we are in. And so in this moment, how am I feeling? And what am I feeling? And then ask yourself, where in your body are you feeling it? Where am I feeling this? And you'll find that most of these types of feelings, certain feelings, for example, fear, will be in one particular area of your body. And for me, it's usually in my throat. Like I'll feel a constriction in my throat. But some people feel it in their solar plexus. They have trouble breathing, fully breathing. Some people get a very upset stomach, an uncomfortable feeling. So pay attention to where that is. And then our work is to remind ourselves that we are here. We are here right now. And then be curious and be that observer and look at yourself from a different vantage point and say, for example, I'll say, I see that I'm here. I see that I'm standing or sitting. I see that I'm okay. I'm okay. And I'm okay because I'm only in this moment. And we can breathe in and out through that moment, just moment by moment by moment. And even as I'm saying this, I can feel my own body just start to let go and relax as I walk you through this. So we have this ability within ourselves just by giving us these gentle reminders. And part of it is something we've talked about before too, is that we are human. So we can't escape and go live spiritually and be oblivious to what's going on. We are called to be here and be human. And so in that, we are going to have these sensations. These are human sensations, but we can make them calm down and we can work with them and we can use them to our advantage. Like we can use them to create this self-awareness within ourselves. And so I want to talk about mirror neurons, because mirror neurons, it's hard to say, so many R's, mirror neurons are what gives us this self-awareness on a neurophysiological level. They are pre-programmed in us from birth. They create this ability to have self-awareness and self-reflection and introspection. And the way they do that is when we see somebody acting a certain way, we can mirror what they are doing. We get this sense, like if you see somebody in pain, sometimes that will trigger pain in your body. If you see someone be sad, it may trigger the sadness in your body. And the thing that we can be aware of is, as adults at least, children it's much more difficult, but that is their pain and not ours. But it triggers in us a response. And we can decide that that response is an authentic response for us or inauthentic response. Because sometimes the response it triggers in us is a trauma from our past and doesn't actually relate to what we are looking at in front of us. So this could be many classes to teach through, but I think the important thing is that we are pre-programmed here to have these responses. We are pre-programmed into self-awareness, and we can use it for our own good and our own well-being and for the good and well-being of others, or we can let it take control of our bodies and go into some really pain and traumatic places. So our work is about becoming more self-aware and more self-responsive and self-reflective so that we can use them for good in our lives and in the lives of others. And really, the beauty and the gift of this, of the mirror neurons activating this within ourselves, is that it can activate in ourselves a compassionate response, first to ourselves and then to others. And compassion is an active state. So in that way, it differs from being empathetic, in that we go in and we mirror the feeling or the state of another, but it calls us into action, and an action that is a positive way of responding. So we're going to get into this a little further in this presentation today when we talk about self-responsibility. But right now, let me see, I think it is time for Ingrid to talk a little bit more about this from her highly spiritual and perspective. I'm turning this over to you, Ingrid.
Thank you. So, as you already mentioned, self-awareness and self-responsibility are very important. One step leads to another. And when I work with people on their awakening process or awareness process, or when we work on our development as spiritual beings in a human body, it's very important to be self-aware and self-responsible, because some people especially think when they work with angels together, they lean back and the angel has to do. Or I send up a wish or a desire to the universe, lean back, and then I wait because the universe can fulfill every wish and every desire. But the angel won't support this. They will support us as soon as we are self-responsible, as soon as we are self-aware. So this is our part. It's not about the universe sends us the presents and we are lucky about this. It's our learning steps. And as you know, maybe I'm working with angels together, also with angelic tools, with my symbols. They also can support us, but we have to do the steps. Yeah. And I thought about what can we do when we talk about being self-aware. So it's always time for us to take time and space, to create time and space, either outside in the nature, or at the moment at the lockdown we have to go inside, we have to stay inside. We can meditate or we can retreat for a while. We can practice self-awareness on the yoga mat or in our bed or on a chair or while we are ironing, anytime. It's up to us when we open up for this special way of becoming more aware and becoming more responsible. So it's very important that you try it at least day by day, if it is possible for you, and take your time. Don't look at the clock, don't look at the watch, don't feel under pressure, or don't put yourself under pressure. If you don't have time for it, then maybe you leave it for a day and do it on another day, or even you take 3 minutes, 5 minutes. You don't have to do it for 1 hour. The better you do it regularly before you don't do it before you don't do it at all. So take your time and you will find time and space for yourself, and try to go into self-awareness every day, at least for a few minutes. Of course, in our time of cell phones and smartphones and tablets and computers, try to avoid digital distraction, because it doesn't make sense if you want to train your self-awareness and you hear the cell phone ringing and you know, okay, the bell is ringing because the pizza man is coming. So really take your time and switch off all your electronic devices. If it's possible, go out into nature. I mentioned already, try to have a mindful walk, maybe barefoot. You can feel the grass, you can feel the ground, you can feel the soil, but try to mindful walking, eating, listening. We have forgotten what it means to eat mindful or to listen mindful, because there are so many things and so many distractions all the day that we have to learn it again, to be mindful walking, mindful eating, mindful listening, and consciously perceive everything around you as good as possible, as much as you can, avoid all this stuff around you. Focus on yourself. You are the most important person in this moment. So try to be really conscious. Pay attention to your inner state as it arises. Maybe there shows up a different aspect of yourself. Maybe your inner child will show up. Maybe part of your soul will show up and you are surprised, or you are maybe anxious because you never have seen it, you never have been aware of this part of your inner state, of your inner soul. So really pay attention what comes up when you are in your reflection and your self-awareness. And very important, stay free from self-judgment, because you or all of us made experiences in our life that are not so good or even bad, but they are part of our life. All the puzzle pieces together, this is our life, this we are. So we have to accept them, even if we dislike them. So we should start or stop self-judgment, we should start self-love and self-awareness. What also could help you write down all your emotions, your experience, your insights. You can use a diary or an app. There are special apps that help you to provide you with questions and hints for self-reflections. But you also can write it down on a sheet of paper or in a diary. If you do this regularly, you can find out the process you're walking through. And you will see, if you do it day by day over some days or weeks or months, you will see the change, your inner change, and you will read your own way, your individual way of self-awareness. Another hint is to connect with the angels consciously, your guardian angels, for example, your archangels. Of course, you can use my angel tools that are very, very effective, because they will hint on hidden topics, hidden problems, hidden blockages. So you can draw an angel card every day, in the morning or in the evening or before you start meditation, and read the message of the symbol, and then read the message in the book. If you want to go deeper, you will get information about yourself, because the symbols help you really to self-reflect. And as soon as you take one of the symbols into your hand, you are connected energetically with the angel, the guardian angels, your archangels, or the helpers angels. So you can take the symbol card and place it next to your heart. You can meditate, you can reflect, and feel inside you. Pay attention to your emotions that maybe come up, and then you can have an inner conversation with the angel whose symbols you have drawn. Even if you don't hear an answer, you will get an answer through your heart, or maybe outside, in the outside, maybe something pops up or shows up, and you will recognize or realize, oh, now this is the answer from the angels. And then write it down if so you wish. And if you, as I mentioned, do it over a long period of time, you will consciously notice the change. And you also can read about the process of self-awareness.
So now I'm just getting set up so that I can take over the presentation. So thank you, Ingrid. So now I'd like to talk to you about move into self-responsibility. And I think the most important question we can ask ourselves is, what does it mean to us, ourselves, to be responsible? And what is the role of our inherited programming and in our cellular conditioning of what being responsible means? Because for many of us, I think it can contain a lot of shoulds. and the outward actions are for others and for the greater good. For example, when I grew up, the idea of having responsibility to myself was something that I never heard of, quite honestly. It was all outward things. It was my responsibilities were to care for my siblings when my parents were at work, to make sure the garden vegetables were picked, to wash them, clean them, have things ready for dinner, to do my schoolwork, to get good grades. It was all about these things that I should do to be in. That was the meaning for responsibility for me. And I think for many of us, that's the way we understand or have understood the word responsible. And so if you have thoughts about that, I'd love for you to write about them, because I think it's a very, very heavy and burdensome way to think about responsibility. And so I'm wondering, I mean, even for me, sometimes the word can bring those feelings up, and I have to remind myself that my first responsibility is really my self-responsibility. And so it was really interesting. A couple of years ago, I came across, I'm going to go back actually, I came across this meaning of responsibility in a way that was unexpected. I was really thinking about the role of responsibility in compassion. And I was going to be teaching a long series about compassion. But I was really struggling with this idea of responsibility. And then it was Christmas time, and my oldest daughter, who was living in Germany at the time, had shipped a book to her younger sister on the Buddhist path to responsibility, on growing up, the Buddhist path to growing up. And there was a section of it on responsibility. And when I opened it up after she had opened her gift and she put it on a table, and that night I was sitting down and I opened the book up, and the first page that I came to was this meaning of self-responsibility, one that I hadn't really been aware of, and that it really means to live authentically, that it really means that we engage in active response to our own way of showing up in the world. And that really was a big game changer for me. It really was. To be responsible really meant that, in its truest sense, that like I said, it's a capacity to respond, and it's inherently alive within us. It's the capacity to react completely and freely to the conditions that are surrounding us. It doesn't have anything to do really with conformity or control. And on the contrary, it really means a willingness to confront nakedly and clearly everything that's in front of us on our own terms, and to be called forth again and again and again by the changes in what we see occurring in front of us. Because the Greek root means, it is a responding response, and the Greek root of the word actually means to pledge. And so to be self-responsible and to be take an active responsibility, it begins within ourselves, and it means to offer ourselves to whatever is happening in our life, to actually pledge ourselves to our own life. And it is from this place that we can respond authentically to the outside world. And really, when I sat with that and took that all in, it really changed a lot of things about my life. I let go of a lot of ways in which I had put everybody else's needs in front of my own. And I began to enjoy life at a whole new level, because I took responsibility in this manner to respond to my life, to be authentically active in this response and integrity. And I'm not sure if people saw the change from the outside, but I think they did. I think that in me responding from this place, people began responding differently to me. And I think that's part of growing up, really. And I think we're never done growing up. And I'm pretty sure it's in the Buddhist teachings that once we finish growing, then our time here is complete. And so I hope to keep growing for a long time. And a big part of this is being responsible in this way. So the Dalai Lama himself says there's only one important point you must keep in your mind and let it be your guide. No matter what people call you, you are just who you are. Keep to this truth. You must ask yourself, how is it you want to live your life? This is being self-aware and being self-responsible.
Wise words, really. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm turning it over now to you.
Good, thank you. I am back with the angels because there are angelic tools to support us with our responsibility. You see the symbol over there? I got this from the angel group, Angel for Responsibility. And this angel or angel group helps us to be self-responsible, but also to learn not to take responsibility from other people, because they also have to learn and fulfill self-responsibility. This is very important for mothers if they want to be responsible for their children, but also there is one type of person, this is called the poor me. These are people are always so poor and everything is hard and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, of course we have to support, but sometimes they are only too lazy to be self-responsible. And this angel and this symbol helps us to find the difference where we have to be or support other people in their own responsibility, and when we have to step back because they have to learn to get into their own responsibility and self-responsibility. So if you see the symbol card, the basic topic is responsibility. It's for the root chakra, but you also can put it on your third eye. The color frequency is dark purple, and the affirmation, I'm aware of my loving responsibility. And so this angel and angel groups can help us in general learn about self-responsibility or responsibility, to make a difference where we have to step in and where we have to get out if the responsibility is on the side of another person. Now I show you a totally different symbol. Maybe you never have seen this kind of symbols. They are not so well known in the US, for example, more in Europe, because these are the angel transformation symbols. And the angel transformation symbol and essences really help us to step into our personal and spiritual transformation process. So the other symbol is more the basic, for the basic symbol, the basic learning steps. And these are more if we have already done several steps, for example, in self-responsibility or responsibility. So this is pushing us more or getting us deeper into this subject. The basic topic is self-responsibility. The chakra, you can use it on all chakras. Color frequency is white. In the affirmation, I take full responsibility for myself and my life. So this is more the master class, if you want. So you can use it, you can combine both symbols, of course, but today I would like to put the focus on this symbol, the transformation symbol. And it can help you, and the energy of the symbol, you know, they are channeled, they contain channeled angel energy, as well as the symbol as the essence, and they can support you not to relieve others of their responsibility, as we mentioned before, and to take over self-responsibility, but also to help you not to shirk decisions, not to use excuses. I cannot do this, I am not able, I am so tired, I am so weak. Of course, this might be true, but sometimes it's really only an excuse. And therefore, the angel helps us to make the difference, or to feel the difference between an excuse and really not being able to, even if we are willing, honestly. And as Joanne already said, we have to learn to be authentic, because if you're self-responsible, we have to be the true me, the true you, the true us. So not playing any role, to be really authentic. And sometimes it's not easy, but self-responsibility asks for authenticity. So, Joanne, I'd like to invite you to continue.
Okay. So I'm going to go into a closing meditation, but I would love to just make some comments too, because I really enjoyed what you were saying, Ingrid. And I think that, you know, when we are making all these excuses and not taking self-responsibility, it's really important that you do the kind of work that you're talking about, Ingrid, and that we really get clear about who we are, and that is this self-awareness. Because once we're clear about who we are, then a lot of these shoulds that come with this programming of responsibility, they just go away. Like, I should be involved in this, I should be involved in that, I should be picking up the neighbor's child for them, you know, and it's all of these things. And we are just running ourselves around in circles and not taking the time to really move into that place of self-awareness and say, you know, what is authentic for me? What is my truth? What is my self-responsibility here? And then it becomes clear, and then you can relieve yourself of these burdens, and you can then, you know, take more care for yourself and control over your response to your own life. And so I think all of this works together, and personally I love the angel symbols and essences to help us complete this process, because, you know, sometimes we are just we really do need something outside of ourselves that's actually within us, but we are unaware of it being within until we make that connection. And I feel like the cards and the essences are like a super highway into that place. So thank you.
May I add one sentence?
Yes.
Because I often realize that people use the symbols or the cards and think the angel will make the problem away.
Oh,
So
right.
this is like consumption. And
Right.
an angel cannot tolerate consumption. If we want to develop our self-awareness, our self-responsibility, or if we want to develop our spiritual growth. So be careful if you use tools, either spiritual tools or holistic tools. It's not about consumption. Lean back and say, angel, please. I spray, I swallow, I take the card, and now it's your turn. They help us to find the blockages. They help us to transform old blockages from this life and past lives, but we have to do the steps. And this is very important because sometimes it is misunderstood if you use spiritual tools that the angel will help you to make everything happy and fun and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this is for me important to remember people. Yeah, to remind.
Yes. Yeah, thank you again for clarifying that, because I think even I love the word that you used there, the consumer of things, because, you know, in a way it does negate what we're talking about, responsibility. You know, responsibility means that we are actively involved. And it isn't, like you said, it isn't just laying back and saying, okay, now you come and take care of me. You know, it's a conversation, and it's work in the best meaning of the word work. But we are here to learn and grow.
Yeah.
So getting back to, you know, the earlier part with what the Dalai Lama says, and Buddhism, or you can probably find this in most spiritual teachings, that we are here to grow and evolve, and it takes effort on our part. So with that, let's have a closing meditation on self-awareness and self-responsibility. So I invite you to please close your eyes and just start breathing in a normal rhythmic pattern. And as you're doing that, just begin to slow the breath. And then I invite you to visualize the womb. And if you're listening to this on the replay and you're not and you don't have a womb, you're a man, or this just doesn't resonate with you, I want you to just visualize an incarnation, a place where your spirit came into physical form. And typically we think of this in the root chakra. So just breathing here into this place. And I'm choosing this place for this visualization because this is where also we learn from our ancestors many things. And some of that is our first learning and awareness of what it might mean to be self-aware and self-responsible. And so I want you to take that and breathe it up into your heart space. And then visualize a brilliant light coming down from the heavens, from the cosmos, however you think of that, but coming into us from a spiritual place. This place of the angels, the archangels, the ascended masters, whoever your spiritual guides may be, of the highest vibration of love and light. Imagine that light coming down toward you, toward the top of your head. And then imagine it form a brilliant shining ball just about an inch above the top of your head. And it stays there and it shines. And I want you to go back into your heart space now, where you have invited up the energy of your root chakra, your first formation in your being of what it meant to be aware and responsible. And I want you from this heart space to now invite in this beautiful spiritual energy and watch that shimmering light slowly, slowly seep through your crown chakra, kind of as if it's melting into you, and slowly making its way down through your face, the back of your head, through your throat, your shoulders, down into your heart. And as it moves down, your shoulders release burden and responsibility in ways that are not authentic to you. And when it moves through your head, it continues to melt into you. And as it continues to move through your head, it releases the parts of your brain that are wired to this idea of responsibility as shoulds and commands from others and not ones that are authentic to you. And with this continuing seeping of the spirit into the heart, your brain, your neurons rewire and fire in new ways, authentic to who you are and who you came here to be, not pre-programmed. It is only of you and of your essence and for your journey here and only for your journey here. This is you, and it meets in the heart chakra with what came up to you from your ancestral knowledge, your programming. And as the two meet, they begin this beautiful dance together, releasing everything from your ancestral programming that doesn't belong to you, and pulling in the essence of love that brought this to you from your ancestors, because it did come to you through love as a way of protection for you on this earth. In this place, we are self-aware and self-responsible because of love, and only through love, love of the divine and love of our ancestors. So continue to breathe in and out, allowing this dance to dance, allowing it to move and spiral and swirl, to slow down, to speed up, whatever your individual rhythm may call for. Feeling your body swaying ever so gently to the rhythm of this dance. And as you continue to breathe this in and out, and feel the ebbs and flows of the dance, feel it take up complete residency within your heart. And then as you continue your breathing on your out breath, move this through your body, down your arms into your hands, down through your breath into your lungs, into your digestive system, the reproductive system, down through your legs, through your feet, bringing this new idea that the ancestors now hold down into the earth to continue to root you to this idea, down deep into the Mother Earth, where she is so beautifully awaiting for this new growth in you. And visualizing that moving up from your heart as well, up through your throat, through your thyroid, into your face, the back of your head, through the neurons again and rewiring of your brain's functions and awareness of what it means now to be responsible and to live your life in this new awareness and responsibility. And feeling that now rise up through the top of your head and move back up into the heavens, into the cosmos. And you are completely held here in human form between the heavens and the earth. And all is well. And all is well. And all manner of things shall be well. And you are here, present, right now. And so breathe this in and out more deeply a few more times in this new realization of who you are and what it means to stand in the world, particularly now, at this time. We are here of love to love. We are love. And when you're ready, release and rub your arms and your legs. Take some time to open your eyes and come back into this room.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I see Gabrielle has joined us as well. Thank you for coming and being here. You're welcome, Anna. My pleasure.
It's always a big pleasure to be together with you, Joanne, and to bring knowledge. I wouldn't say teaching, it's more about experience and knowledge we have gained in our long lives. To bring it out to people, to give impulses, to bring some ideas, and everyone has that chance to self-reflect, to think about, to feel it or not. It's an offer.
Yes, it is an offering.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the next time, would you like to show the next slide, please? Ann?
Oh, I have that, don't I? Thank you.
Yeah. The next time we will talk about regeneration and rebirth on May the 12th, here online in our Wellness Universe classroom. I'm very happy to continue our common journey with Joanne, of course, and also our listeners. And in the meantime, thank you for joining us and all the best through this crazy time, which is so necessary for mankind. We will manage it, I'm sure.
Yes. So thank you everyone for being here today. It's really been my pleasure as well. And I wish you a great journey forward, first inward, and then in response to the world around you. And I look forward to seeing you in May, which is a time where nature is in full swing into rebirth and regeneration.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
And to all those watching the replay and listening in, it's a pleasure to have you as well. So